Life. What is real anymore? It's time to pull back the curtains of reality and explore life in the hologram. We've unlocked our library hidden deep within the matrix and are ready to take you on a tour of the cosmos. Come in as we discuss everything from spirituality, psychics, healers, ghosts, as well as UFOs, and the unknown. It's time to forget what you think you know and explore life in the hologram.
I wonder if we're on. Well,
I think we are.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It's a good something somewhere in the universe as we speak. And welcome to Life in the Hologram on the case. Yeah, did it again on the Revolution Radio Network.
Revolution Radio.
Yeah, I'll get that straight. With Caroline, Belle, Tumblety, and Madeline Rudy. And it's just us tonight, and our little card for today says, harmonize in the now. Sync with the rhythm and the wisdom of the universe.
I like that, Madeline.
Yeah.
Let's sync with the wisdom of the universe. Yeah.
Yeah. Sync with the radio station.
Yeah. You know, I think what it is the intro ends too quick. Like we have to add something on to the end yet, like now for the show, you know, because we don't really know are we live.
Yeah.
So I think we need to work on
us quick.
Yep. And a big thank you to the ones behind the scenes who are all volunteers and helping, and thank you so much here at Revolution Radio. They are listening supported. So like get your wallets out and hit that donate button, or even like you can actually do it as a monthly every month. There's so many stations here, right, Madeline? Right, Madeline? Where did Madeline go? You're muted. There you are. Nope, you're away again. What happened? Calling Madeline.
Okay, here I am. I don't know. Strange stuff is happening today. I'm at the chiropractor and she has my arm up in the air and my watch says, I don't know about that.
What?
Right. And I'm like, what? And I laughed and laughed and laughed. We laughed and laughed.
So is it like Alexa on your watch or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Siri,
yeah.
And then it did something around 5 o'clock. It said something again.
Wow.
I better turn the mic off on it. But you can't turn the mic off because if you want to do a message, you have to have the mic on. You can send a message, through the watch. You can do everything with these things today. Isn't it marvelous?
Yeah, it is. I mean, the tech is really good. I mean, as far as making people's lives easier, but I don't think that happened,
Yeah, it's
I don't think it happened.
It's crazy stuff going on in the world, isn't it? In the last couple of days.
Oh, God, the last few years, the last couple of 1,000 years. Yeah, last few days for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So
crazy stuff.
Like, what's some of the stuff you've been seeing in your neck of the woods?
In our neck of the woods with our president, they said I guess with these documents that he shouldn't have had the documents in the first place because only the president's supposed to have documents, like a president that left office. Mm-hmm. You can take documents with them, but not a senator nor a vice president. They're not
Right.
supposed to have documents. So they did this report and they said, oh, this, he's free and clear because he's not competent to stand trial.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet he's the president of the
Yeah.
United States, of the free
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Right. So there's a senator that wants to invoke the 25th Amendment.
All right.
And I'm supposing that means I'd have to get my little constitution out to get the president out.
Is that, it would probably be he's unfit, right?
Right.
That's probably what that is. So what does that mean? Does that mean Camelia Harris? Oh. Oh boy. I haven't seen her lately. Have you seen much of her lately?
No. Well, who knows? I mean, I don't know. He's if you watch any reports, he doesn't really make sense.
Oh, he was saying that he was talking to somebody who died, right?
And he was talking about the Mexican border and the Israelis, and he mixed the two of them up. So,
and he got some president, a Mexican and an Egyptian president,
mm-hmm.
right? Got them mixed up. Well, he's been doing that for a while, right? He's been shuffling for a while.
Absolutely.
Well, it's looking like elder abuse,
that's what they're saying. Well, I think it's like when Reagan was president and he was starting to lose it, Nancy took over. Mm-hmm. But I think Nancy was doing she wasn't doing such a bad job.
No, and I think that his relationship with Nancy Reagan, I mean, they did horoscopes and astrology reading.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a whole other era, in the 80s. And I don't think, I don't think she was bad, Nancy Reagan. I think she was behind her man, and I think a lot of the time she was the one making the decisions.
Right, absolutely.
Yep.
But I don't know. This guy, it's scary.
It's very scary.
But, what is really going on? Is it the president? We got to watch this president of the crazy stuff that he's doing. Then we have the stuff in Israel going on, and we have the stuff at our border.
Mm-hmm.
And no president with half a mind would let all these people in the country. And it's happening all over the world.
I know. Yep, it's happening here. It's happening in every country. Did you see this was actually a few months ago, that there was actually more immigrants landed on an island in Italy than there was residents on the island? And it was basically the president of Italy, or the prime minister. She's a woman. She was at the EU going, what the heck? You got to protect us. You got to bring out the freaking army or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that story went quiet, but that's what's happening all over.
Yeah, a lot of stories
world.
are going quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these people that have come in are, robbing places, and they beat the cops up in New York City, and they're on a crime spree.
Well,
and we don't know who these people are. And, a lot of people from a lot of the countries that aren't our friends are coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We had one here, so we did, and it was like an acid attack. I went ballistic, and the police didn't know what to do. They still haven't caught this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, they have him on closed circuit TV, like, I think it was Clapham. His name was, I can't remember, Abdul somebody. And they're thinking he probably drowned in the Thames. They had him on the cameras as he was moving through the city. None of the police were going anywhere near him. I mean, it's really, really ridiculous what's going on.
Well, and then they apprehend these people, and they take them in, and then they leave them go.
I know.
And the situation with their funding, I mean, my God, how many people in this country, I mean, there's people that are working that don't even have a place to live.
I know. It's the same here. I was up in Glasgow last week, and the amount of homeless that I saw, like, is, you know,
you can't even believe it. I mean,
right?
You can't.
No, it's like a case of like I get stumped for words at the hypocrisy. I mean, call yourself a civilized society. Can you take care of your own? You know, like, would rather not take care of your own. Take the strangers in. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take all the strangers in.
And what about giving the money away? Look at how much money this country keeps giving to other countries. Why? Take care of this country first.
Yeah. And it's your money they're giving away. It's the people's money. Because governments don't have money.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling is what it is. I could never understand that. Even when I was a teenager, a young adult, I can never understand why this government keeps giving money to all these different countries when you have people over here that need to be, until everybody in this country, man, woman, and child, have a house, have something to live in, clothing on their back, food in their stomach, and money in their pocket, then
help.
Give it away.
Mm-hmm.
But to support wars and to do this and to do that, why? Help our people first.
I don't think that's part of their agenda. To help.
It's not.
It's not, right? It's becoming really, really obvious that they don't really like us, you know. But I was looking at something earlier. There are cycles that take place.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, how often have we heard the word reset be said? Like, for the minute that we had went into lockdown in 2020, that's all you heard. Reset, 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 reset. Like, what does that mean? And, like, they would try to apply it to the financial system, you know, or I don't think that's what it is, Madeline.
I think it's a mind control situation is what's happening.
That's been the case for a long time.
Yeah, because why would all these people, at least over in France and Germany, it seems the farmers have come to their senses. They dumped poop all over the place. But I mean, over here, what are these folks thinking?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. You know, I have never experienced so much division in the whole time that I've been here, you know, and I see more and more division. People becoming even more distant than what they were before, and very much out for themselves. I see that a lot. And yeah, that's what I'm seeing, you know. Like over here, we have like a slew of illnesses that are going through the so-called royal family. And yeah, like again, like, see, it's all set up in such a way that if you have been buying into the whole program for the get-go, all this stuff is like just kind of set up like to, like, in this country right now, people are like at their doctors, they want to have their prostate examined. Like the amount of people requesting it is off the charts because the king and what he is experiencing right now. But like,
doesn't Kate have a problem too?
Well, that was the other one. Like, I mean, we haven't seen her for Christmas. Anytime I try, like, this is just personally, like, I think like, I'm not even going to say what I think anyway. But yeah, they said it was abdominal. When did you like, see, this is the other thing I'm getting really annoyed about, Tay. Like, your womb is your womb, or your uterus, like, that is not your abdomen. You know?
No.
No, but they will say abdominal surgery. I've even seen people who will refer to somebody giving birth as like abdominal. It's not abdominal.
Maybe she has a colon issue.
I don't know. Maybe it was appendicitis. Who knows? But somebody, I think it was a Spanish news outlet, said it was a hysterectomy that went wrong, and they had to induce a coma. So I don't know. And last I heard, she wanted to have another child, so maybe it was something complicated. I really don't know. It's all guesswork at this point. But I think it's amazing that the private health sector in this country, and also the national health sector, are actually GOAT customers right now for a lot of kind of major things. So I find that all very, very interesting, and I don't find it accidental. And I think that these things are distractions for the main part. Yeah. But they also serve a purpose. You know, they serve a machine. The machine's hungry, so go to feed the machine or something like that. You know, I get really mad about this shit. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there's something afoot, but if they are having these illnesses, they can't escape it because they're trying to eliminate so many of us with their chemtrails, their GMO food, the polluted water. So how can they, you know, if they're putting it on us, I mean, unless they're living in a bubble when they go outside, the chemtrails are getting them too. And if it's, you know, raining or snowing, it's coming from the sky and onto whatever, the grass, the food.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I believe that. I do believe that. I believe that we have been poisoned. Like, it has been like this slow. And who was it? Russ Tanner? I mean, you had him on. Like, it was Solaris that introduced me to him. But I remember, like, asking him, like, how do they avoid it? Like, how do the elites avoid that? I mean, they have to breathe the air. They have to eat the food. But he was saying that they have these really high-end, like, air purifiers. Like, their food will be brought in from somewhere else or grown somewhere else. Like, he was saying, basically, if you have money, this stuff is not a problem.
Well, yeah. And probably, you know, it's a possibility. They have those med beds, too, already.
Well, yeah, I've heard you mention that before. And I think it was DJ. Did she mention that, like, last week?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know too much about that. Like, I like infrared, you know, I like infrared light, and I like natural light. I
have the infrared light. When I left Pennsylvania, I went to Florida to buy these infrared lights, and this was before the infrared lights were affordable, let's say.
Yeah.
Because I spent a lot of money on infrared lights. A lot.
Wow. But you still got them, right?
I do.
Yeah. Do you use them?
I do.
Yeah, I like infrared. I do.
But the med bed takes it to a whole different level.
Tell me about it, Madeline. Tell me about it.
It's technology from afar, let's say.
Okay. Yeah.
And it will rejuvenate your whole body. I mean, to the point where if you're missing teeth, it can grow teeth. It can just, like, if you ever watched those sci-fi movies or something where they had the bed where they put the person in it and the person was dead, and they said, let me throw him in there for half an hour.
Yeah. Was it Stargate? Yeah, Stargate
and then they
has
got him
that.
out,
yeah.
And the guy was alive. Well, this is kind of what it does.
Okay. Have you met anybody who's actually been in it?
No. Well, there's one down in Florida. My friend, Reverend Debbie, she said they have this EES system too. Now that's it's scalar waves.
Oh yeah, I've heard of these. Yep.
And they have those things all over the world. Now, she said she did the med bed and the EES system, and she had pain in her. She did have bad pain in her knees. She could hardly walk for years. And she said she went in there and she doesn't have pain anymore and she can walk. So, pretty promising.
That is promising. Mm-hmm.
I didn't go in this EES system yet. There's one kind of close to me, but they only have 8 arrays. And then there's another place that's maybe 20, 30 minutes from where I live, and they have 24. So I was waiting to go to that one.
Sounds really interesting. So
yeah.
It does, because it reminded me of the movie Stargate.
Mm-hmm.
In that movie, he had like a pod member, and he puts the guy in it, and it heals him.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And that was the reason that the aliens gave for they liked Earth, because the bodies were easily repairable.
Well, and if you believe that Val Thor went into President Eisenhower and they wanted to be able to cure everybody of their illnesses here on this planet, but somehow I believe it was the Senate and Congress said, no, you can't do that. Here we are.
Here we are. Yeah.
Here we are.
You know, that's what and this is no subject, we'll go right back to the subject, but you know, that's what, I watched a wee bit of that interview with Tucker Carlson and Putin, and things that I found out, like, I didn't even watch the whole thing, but one of the things I found out early on was there was an agreement had been drawn up early days, and it was Boris Johnson that went to the Ukraine and made them tear it up. So there was an agreement, like, way at the beginning, like, I think it was, when did he go in there? 2022? An
agreement for what?
Not to invade, like, not to go to war. There was, like, they were already in, like, kind of negotiation terms. And Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister in the UK at that time, and supposedly he went there and took it off the table. So.
Well, but I think, I've read different things about this, that there were a lot of money laundering things going on in the Ukraine.
Yep.
There was a lot of child trafficking going on in the Ukraine. A lot of nefarious things were going on in the Ukraine that,
had to make sure it kept going. Yep.
Average person wasn't privy to. And I think that's what Putin went after.
Well, when you heard him, like, when I heard him talking, like, it's an interpretation of what he was saying. And I also saw that some people who were fluent in Russian, were listening in, like, and saying that some of it, like, he was taking much longer to answer some of the things. But then they were putting their spin on it. And saying, oh, he had an attitude or he was arrogant. I actually seen him, I didn't see that at all. I saw, like, a scared Tucker Carlson, but I also saw him be very serious and want to ask questions. And I felt like, why is not more of that happening? You know, why is it taking this long? The whole idea, when you...
It's not easy to get documents out of the Senate.
Yeah.
What's that noise? Is that your TV?
Nobody cares, but
No.
there's also that.
What's in the background? What was in the background?
Anything can happen.
Oh, you crack me up, Madeline. You know, sometimes things pop up on my laptop that I don't want. But yeah, so I mean, they talk about World War II. I mean, it was Jewish people, Polish people, and Russian people. They were the highest casualties. They were the highest casualties, and Russia was on our side.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were on our side, and yet get forgot somehow. Like, I don't really know. Like, and supposedly they were all kind of agreements. Like, NATO was supposed to like kind of keep a distance for Russia. Like, there was a lot of agreements that seems to be they went back on. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, you look at, like, when you look at war, I don't think there's a side that thinks they're on the wrong side, you know? When we look at Putin, I mean, he says it's not really about land, but more securing his domain. And also, like, he sees it as a corruption that's kind of real close, and he doesn't want that kind of corruption in his country, you know? That's how I interpret it.
Well, I don't think they don't tell you the truth.
No, and they're all having dinner at the end of the night, you know? I mean, really.
The guy that's running the country in the Ukraine, he was a
comedian.
Like a soap opera.
He was a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. And it was because of him being in the House of Commons in Canada that they all go up and applauded a Nazi war criminal. Because the Ukraine fought on the side of Germany. Not on the side of the West. Not on the side of Russia or Poland or UK or America. The Ukraine fought on the side of Germany. It's like nobody remembers anything anymore.
No, nobody remembers anything.
No, and I think I told you the story when I was in upstate New York, and it was a census, and this was maybe 2001. No, it must have been earlier because I don't think 9/11 had happened. And they phoned me up, like, to check on the details of the census form that I had filled out. And the first question out of your mouth was, so how long have you been here for the Ukraine?
Huh.
And I said, what? And she said, you were born in the Ukraine? And I said, no, I was born in the UK, United Kingdom. And she couldn't get off the phone quick enough. And then it turned out about a year and a half later, there was a brothel up the back of where I was living in Rhinebeck. And that was visited by the governor and all kinds of people, the mayor. Pataki, I think he was one of the ones. It was Hillary Clinton's lawyer. And it was raided, and it was all Ukrainian women. So there you go. There you go. And I also got a knock on my door asking me if I was open for business. Because yep, I swear to God. And this town that I lived in, I mean, your average house was a couple of million, $500,000. Like, it was all doctors and teachers. And I mean, I wasn't rich. I worked at the hotel. I lived on the edge of town. But see, it goes way back. Like, this whole Ukraine entanglement. And it goes right back to the Clintons and maybe before, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so Trump has been aware of all that because he was right there, you know. Mm-hmm. He was right there and among it. And I always remember how both of these men, like Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, handled getting caught in an affair. I always remember Donald Trump married her. You know, I mean, if you want, like, know that he should have been having an affair in the first place. But, I mean, that was a sign of his character right there. he never lied about it. He never, he basically got divorced and married Marla Maples. That's what happened. And he had a child, and then he got divorced. So, I mean, that's a bit different for the way that Bill Clinton handled getting caught in an affair.
Mm.
Right? I did not have sex with that woman. I mean, how many times did we hear that? And then
a lot.
A lot, right? And then, and even she bought them all off, all the women. Like, she actually paid them all off, threatened them, all kinds of stuff.
You mean Hillary?
Oh, yeah, Hillary. Yep. See, I don't know what happens. I really don't, because I liked her in the early days. I mean, the real early days. And then
I think Clinton was one of the smartest presidents that we had, intelligent-wise.
Yeah. Well, he could run circles around most of them, right?
Hmm.
So what was it about him that you think was smart? Like, what was it?
Well, no, I mean his intelligence. He has intelligence. He has a high IQ and could, at least he could speak and put sentences together.
Yeah. But, I mean, think about it. If Biden...
He's the one that signed the Nassara Gassara. That was supposed to go into effect.
Was it before 9/11?
Yep.
Yep, and that... Yeah. And all the gold went missing.
Well, the gold didn't go missing. It was at the bottom of the Twin Towers.
Yeah, but they drove it.
After they got it all out, then they stopped drilling or whatever, stopped the cleanup after it was out.
Why do you think Building 7 came down?
I have no idea. All I know is I was going there that day.
Were you going to Building 7?
I was going to New York that day.
New York is an awful lot of people that were going there that day and never. I knew quite a few that, didn't go into their office.
No, those buildings imploded.
Oh, my God. You know, I couldn't stop crying when that happened.
Yeah.
And I was not a big crier. I'm not a big crier.
I mean, if you watch that on film,
oh my goodness,
and you watch a building implode, it's the same thing.
Well, scheduled demolition. It looked like a scheduled demolition. And you saw did you watch the Loose Change, like the movies and all that got made like quite soon after it, that were saying, look, it's an inside job, and they were saying like that the airplane fuel did not melt the beams, it
the place imploded. I was seeing a man, and I believe he was one of the people that put the explosions in the place.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, they did, right? Like, they went in, was it a week before? Supposedly it was a whole security thing that was going on. There was something, yeah.
He was up there for about a month.
Wow.
And then, I think it was the day before, he called me up. He says, "What? You better not come up to New York today because I've lost my job. You need to find a different job. You certainly keep losing these jobs." In the CIA.
Oh.
Never saw him or heard from him again.
Oh my goodness, Madeline. Wow. He disappeared, probably new identity, away.
Who knows?
I was working in upstate. I was in Rhinebeck in the hotel, and people were phoning. Like, I worked at I was like the reservations manager. People were phoning me to ask me what was happening. People were so so traumatized and so just didn't know where to call. And I'm pretty sure they were calling police stations and maybe not getting answers. But I remember people were calling me and saying that they were standing in their kitchen watching what was happening.
Yeah. I didn't know what happened. I was at home, and I had a home office because I did massage. And one of my clients called, and he came over and he said, do you know what happened? I said, no, what happened? What's going on? Mm-hmm. He said, well, about the Twin Towers. I said, get out of here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my God. And I was going up there and I was planning to go to Wall Street.
So you'd have been right there in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Well, I had went into work that morning and the owner, his office door would always be opened and he would be watching the TV, the news, first thing in the morning when I would go into work. And so he had it on and I sat down at my desk and he kind of called for me to go into the office and the other women that worked there. And he's looking at me going, what's going on? And we stood there and we didn't know what was going on. Like we thought some accident. We didn't really know. And then we watched the other building get hit. And I went back and sat down at my table because at my desk because the phone started ringing off the hook. And it was just such a surreal.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was a beautiful day. It was really sunny. And we were all like, I remember thinking, how can the sun be shining when this is happening? It was just felt so unreal.
Well, even when I looked at that's an implosion. I don't care what these people say. If a plane hits a building on the top, fall off on the top, not topple down.
Right.
Like it was, well, not like it was an implosion. It came out of the bottom.
Mm-hmm. The basement, right?
Yeah.
There was actually footage of people who said that they heard it. They heard it going off in the basement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, what happened was it was all your first responders had run into the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they came down. I mean, that was the saddest thing ever. So it was. We had a young man that worked at the hotel who wanted to be a fireman, and he was one of the ones. He was one of the ones that ran in the building.
God bless those people.
Absolutely.
I mean, to be a fireman or a
ambulance, yep.
Yeah, an EMT, forget it. I couldn't do that.
No, and these are brave people, and they're yeah. And then it was the whole. I remember the envelope. Like I used to get deposits for the reservations, so I would get a whole ton of mail every day at the hotel. And I remember the one envelope, and it wasn't written in blood, but it was written with like a red ink. And I looked at the envelope, and I was kind of like, "What the heck?" And I just thought maybe they could only find a red pen. And I went to open the envelope, and there was powder in the envelope. Everybody thought it was anthrax.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was anthrax, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my, the crap they've put us through.
Right. I mean, whole place.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm sitting there going, oh my God. I mean, I think it was only talcum powder that was in the envelope, but we didn't know. Maybe they knew.
Because now I think they're said they're working on something again for like the 2024 election, like a shutdown of some sort.
It's pretty obvious, right, that the division that has happened across the world, we have to go our separate ways if we can't amend this. This is not going to end.
Someone, we don't know who, but it's not going to end well for some group, whichever nefarious group it is.
Right? I mean, yeah.
It's not going to end well.
No,
for which group, we don't know.
Because they don't know how to play nice. They don't know how to coexist. And, I mean, it's been a case of elimination, like, for the last 4 years. I mean, it's been going on longer, but they seem to have upped the ante. I don't know about you, but the excessive deaths here are still a lot higher than they've ever been.
Well, it's been going on. I mean, look, if we go back to the Bible, and Cain killed Abel, for God's sake. Come on.
You know, some say that story has been, you know. No, some say that story was flipped. That it was the other way around. You know.
Abel killed Cain.
Don't know. Wasn't he
We
there?
weren't there.
Wasn't he there? But I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of shenanigans going on. Like, an awful lot. You know, like, just change the name, you know, when they feel like it. I mean, it's always been the victors that have wrote the history, so we really shouldn't be. We find out a lot it's not true. Most of it's not true.
Yeah, it's like a hologram.
I think the name of your show, like, kind of says it, right? It's Life in a Hologram.
Yeah.
And I think we are, to some extent, as well. I know that we're flesh and blood, like, I know the whole physical aspect to it. But this multi-dimensional aspect, I think it's somewhat holographic as well. I think the holograph is probably more common out there.
Well, yeah. And, you know, and I think in some places where the energy is where we are. Do you know what I mean? Like, in these places where they have these magnetic anomalies, or I think that you can shift things around in one of those areas where here, like let's say where I live, the energy is too dense. But when you're in those different places, like, I mean, I've came across a lot of different of these magnetic situations. And I mean, and the people were there, I mean, and they were making money off of these little magnetic situations.
Yeah.
But where, you know, there could be a whole lot more around that people really don't know about.
Yeah, I think so.
And you could, you know, who knows what you can do in one of those situations.
Well, you were in Sedona. I mean, you experienced the vortexes there, the change in temperature as you were walking around.
Oh.
Yeah, I experienced that as well. I mean, like, that was physically felt. You know, that wasn't just sensing. That was like full experience, like physical as well as, like, I actually felt very light as I walked around there. I felt really expansive.
A lot of strange things happen there.
Yeah, they do.
But I kind of think, because there's so many people, my one friend, well, I lived in her little apartment. She called me because she got mail from me after all these years.
Oh.
But she said I wouldn't even know the place. And she said, like, to get in, it takes people like an hour to get from the village of Oak Creek up into Sedona.
What?
Yeah.
That was like 20 minutes away.
If that.
Yeah. I liked Oak Creek because of the...
That's
so
right.
why is it taking so long?
Because there's so many people coming in.
Oh, wow. So it's a backup of traffic?
She said I used to live on the street was called Back of Beyond. And then you could go back there to, I think it was Cathedral Rock. She said they blocked that off. You can't go back there anymore.
Wow.
Because so many people were coming.
So if people, like, just wanting to go there for
I guess a visit.
The ancient site, like, are they being drawn there, maybe? I
don't know what they're doing. So Sasha Stone, he's having some kind of function between Sedona and the Hopi Nation. Oh,
okay. All right. And he's got a big following. Like,
I think it's like the 15th to the 19th or something like that. Yeah.
Last time I saw him.
Well, I guess he's, you know.
They do what they would do, you know. Like, and I also think, like, I do think that we get drained and then we revitalize again. And maybe that was just the last time I saw him. He didn't look like he was doing well.
Well, the thing is, he's trying to uplift and enlighten the public.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an easy job to do.
No. No. And he has been doing a good job at it, you know? Like, I mean, he's been at it for a while. Yeah, he has. He opened a lot of people's eyes, you know? At least a lot of people go, like, maybe a start, you know, listening to him and then went off on their own, you know? There was a couple of them that were like that. Like, even Terence McKenna back in the day. I mean, I know he was doing a lot of LSD, but he was insightful. And then you had Alan Watts was another one, you know, like he was also. I mean, there's been a lot. There's been some really good kind of teachers that have kind of hung in there, you know. There have been quite a few, and there still are. There still are. There's many of them. I mean, Deepak Chopra has been around forever. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I remember him way back, you know. He smoked and drank whiskey, you know.
Well, I think a lot of these gurus do.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he does anymore, I should add in, but he did back in the day. I think it's so too. I mean, I think a lot of them, they have like some kind of knowledge and wisdom. And people can feel good around them, like they manage to tune the atmosphere and the frequency around them, and they're just regular people, you know. They have bad habits like everybody else.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. But they usually lie about theirs, you know.
I mean, some of these teachers, especially the men, how many wives have they had?
Well, that's also a big thing, right? Is like the whole tantric thing, like to build the creative energy. I mean, is that not what Gandhi did? Like, he always had these women. Like, you don't really hear that aspect to him as a holy man, but I mean, it wasn't that they would engage in like building the creative energy, the sexual energy. You know, never really. Well, it's late at night. I can say words like ejaculation, can't I? Yeah. We'll get the medical term out here in a wee minute. But you know what I mean? Like, is that like Tantra? You know, like, I remember like the Kundalini yoga. There was times when they would have these, it was Tantra, you know, it would be 12 hours, 24 hours. And you would sit, usually it would be a stranger, you know, you'd be sit facing them. And you would just do all these chants. And a lot of the times you were just kind of helping the other, like, keep the pose and maintain the chant. You know, it was.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
I was learning shiatsu. So the one girl in the class says to me, she says, "You want to go for a weekend to the Kripala Yoga Ashram?"
Okay.
I said, "Yeah, sure." So it was $75. Well, $75 overnight stay and food. Yeah. Hey, sign me up.
Right.
So we go down there, and I don't know whether it was at the night or the next morning. We had to get up, oh my God, before the crack of dawn. And we went in this room, and it was dark. And we're doing these funny exercises. And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on in here? These people are going, what the hell are these people doing? So the last day comes, and we go into the room, and this guy is, you know, and then they're saying, oh, you know, free your mind and stretch and stretch. It's like, oh, okay. So the last day we go to the room again, and this guy is literally turned himself into a pretzel. And I'm there, look, I don't care how far I stretch my mind. This ain't happening today. This is for me.
Some of them are impressive, though, like what they can do with their bodies. My God. Yeah.
So we're driving home, and I said, "Hey, Bonnie," I said, "what in the world were we doing? What were those exercises we were doing in the dark?"
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "Yoga." I said, "Oh, yoga. Why didn't I get it? Rapala Yoga Ashram. Yeah, why didn't I get that?" But I'll tell you what.
So you don't do yoga, Madeline?
No, I don't. And Bonnie went on to open up a yoga studio, but I should have gone for yoga and became a yoga teacher. Was what I should have done when I left Pennsylvania instead of going to Florida, but I didn't. But, I went back again to the Kripala Yoga Ashram for like a 1-week meditative massage class. But, I mean, after about the third day, some of the people and myself defected out of the ashram to go get some real food.
You broke it. He defected.
We had to get candy and something else.
Oh, wow.
Because it was, it was all rice and beans. And it wasn't that it was bad food, but...
No, it'd be good food, yeah.
When you're not accustomed to eating like that,
yeah,
you just
challenge.
Have to go get some real food. and what we kind of call real food. But they were eating the real food, but we didn't appreciate it. But then that's where I learned, too, about these psychic surgeons. They were just coming on way back when. The things we've been through, huh?
Yeah, the one that comes to my mind was the psychic surgeon was that John of God. Remember him?
Oh, yeah, he got himself in trouble. No, we had Alex Urbito.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't hear to him. I don't remember him.
Well, he's the guy that used to come here to the United States. He was from the Philippines.
Well, when I lived in Rhinebeck, Omega Institute is in Rhinebeck.
Yeah.
And that's how I heard about that John of God. Like, I never went to him. Like, I knew people that were, and everybody in town was all dressed in white. And I was like, what's that all about? And I guess that was his thing. But I guess he was trafficking women, getting them pregnant. Yeah.
How about that?
And who was it that introduced him to the world? Oprah Winfrey. Yep. Yeah.
Interesting, huh?
Very
How they
interesting.
all tie in together. I was close to one of these healing things where they taught all these classes when I lived in Florida. I was only like 5 miles from Mar-a-Lago. I was there when he got married.
Yeah? Wow.
Yeah, I lived 2 blocks from the beach.
Well, I was in Rhinebeck when Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton's daughter, Chelsea, got married. She got married in Rhinebeck. Yep. So I was at the dark side and you were at the light side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
There was a lot of interesting history, too, to that area. This guy that was like the apartment manager that I lived in, he was a gay guy, and his mother she had formed like the Women's Association for all these women's associations for over the whole country. And I guess he went to, what's that? Down in the Keys, Key West.
Oh, yeah, Key West, yep.
He went down to Key West and he bought a restaurant. It was fine, a restaurant. And his mother sent him a barge with a pink Volkswagen.
What?
With a pink Volkswagen van.
Wow.
All kinds of supplies. He was funny, but he told me that these, the wealthy people down there would, because we were near, what is it? It's not Palm Springs. I can't think of that very wealthy section. West Palm Beach. Like those people would buy little houses along the beach or like condos for if they would get company. And he would say, like, some of those people, they did some coke.
Yeah?
Yeah. It would get them a little bit, give them some energy. Yeah, he was telling me, and he was a chef too.
Wow.
He was funny. He'd make me laugh so bad. Oh my God, that guy was funny.
You know, I miss that. I miss, like, good comedians.
Yeah.
Good comedians.
Yeah,
know?
We need something.
Yeah, lots of laughter. I mean, there are things that crack me up. Like, there are, like, your laughter, for one thing, cracks me. Just get going. I mean, it's like... I
know. Comedians love me.
Yeah, I bet they do.
They love me. Trust me.
You know, maybe you could make a
professional laugher.
Yeah. Like, give me £1,000, I'll come and sit in the front row. I'll get your group laughing. Yeah. I think we should be coming up on a break, but I don't hear anything yet.
No, we didn't hear it last week either.
Right? I might be hitting the mute button and running to the restroom at some point. But maybe we'll get the break, maybe we won't. Oh, look at that. I don't think we're getting it, Madeline. I think we just went. I don't hear any music.
I don't either. Maybe it's playing somewhere.
Maybe. I don't. Yeah, I wonder. Like, maybe it is playing somewhere, but I don't think so. I don't see it in.
Yeah, that's really odd that happened last week and this week, that we don't have.
Yeah.
It doesn't go into the break.
I'm gonna maybe like send a message later. Like, I don't know. Maybe nobody's listening.
Maybe we're not even on the air.
Maybe we're not, and we think we are. We're just having a good conversation. Yeah. But I guess we're gonna go. It just hit 1 o'clock, so I don't think we're getting the break.
We're not getting the break.
I don't think we're getting the break, which is making me nervous. But you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah, because the thing was, last week we didn't get the break. Yeah. But then when your show started,
it was added on to it. Yeah, I had like 9 minutes intro. But it's not like it'll get ironed out, you know, like I mean, here everything's that I hear on Revolution Radio is usually really, really smooth. So whatever it is, it'll get ironed out. So it'll get fixed. And we had the intro right at the beginning of the show, and it'll take us a while to get into the flow. I mean, you were used to doing it one way for 8 years?
Yeah.
I was used to doing it for just over a year. So I mean, it'll take a wee while, and we just shifted from one Wednesday night, or was it? It was Wednesday night to Friday, and this is only the second time doing it on the Friday night. So it'll take us.
It was the Friday nights that are.
Everything kind of got messed up, yeah.
Yeah, that the break didn't go.
Yeah.
The way it's supposed to go.
Yeah, no break.
Strange.
Yeah, it is. But I'm going to hit the mic for a minute. I'll be back in 2 seconds, Madeline.
Okay, all Caroline's going to take a break.
Thanks, Madeline. Be right back.
She's taking a break. And what are we going to talk about? Let's see. What should we talk about? It's a crazy world, that's for sure. We could talk about the guests that are coming up. Like next week we have Michael Freely, and he certainly has all these things that get downloaded into his head, and he writes about all these things. He works with David Icke now out of the Icke Studios, and he has so much information. He's written several books, And he has a new book out. I could tell you what it was if I could get into my phone. But yeah, and then we have Constance Briggs. She's coming on, and she's written several books about UFOs and such. And Michael really gets different downloads for sure. He talks about everything. I think he was over in Scotland and did some research over there, and he does a lot of different. He does a lot of research, and he used to be a policeman in the UK. And then I think this started when he was on a case. It was a murder, kind of a murder mystery, and him and his wife worked on it. And then from there, he started to get all this different kinds of information, which is very interesting. I was talking about Michael.
Oh yeah, he looks really cool. He's next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like, I need to do my homework and read up on him and see what he's written a few things, hasn't he?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw that. It's quite a lot. But that's good. That's good. I'm looking forward to it.
You are the real Da Vinci Code.
I think we are.
Michael, he's going into different multiple paranormal UFO experiences and has personally witnessed dimensional portals opening before him.
Wow.
Unorthodox crafts. Yeah. He's does a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And that's when is that? That's next week. That's the 17th, 16th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 16th of Friday.
He has The Secret Christ, The Lost Word of God, Alchemy of the Gods. So why don't portals open up in front of us?
You know, Madeline, I have been thinking about this myself. And have you seen one in a dream?
I've seen a lot of things in my dreams.
Have you seen a portal?
Well, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
I was in a room one night where there was all crystal skulls. Square room, and there was all kinds of shelves, like from the floor to the ceiling. Mm-hmm. And there were all these crystal skulls.
That's really cool. And what did you do in the room?
I wanted one.
You wanted one of the skulls? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what I was doing in the room. I was just looking at these crystal skulls, and it's like, wow.
Thinking about
I was having weird dreams. I dreamt about, I don't know if I told you this. In my dream, I met this man. Mm-hmm. This man was a man of color. And he was like, oh my God, he must have been 7 foot tall. Mm-hmm. And he had this, like it wasn't a tweed, but it was like a plaid brown suit on. But then he had like a royal blue T-shirt under the sport coat, and it said Nasara Gassara.
Oh, I like that.
It's like, huh.
Interesting. When was that? When did you have that dream?
That was maybe a week or two ago.
You have really interesting dreams.
Yeah, if I could remember all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have a whole nother life going on.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
In my dreams.
Yeah, I've had some weird ones too. I had a dream the other night there, actually. I had told Solaris about it. It wasn't really a dream. I was lying there, and my body was in rest. Like, it was definitely in rest, but I was still conscious. Like, I was in that kind of in-betweeny. But a dream unfolded as I was still in that in-betweeny. And I could see myself like in this like scene, like in a store or something, and I was being really, really nice. I was being really nice to everybody, and it actually like woke me up out of the restful state, and I went, "Oh wow, that's okay. I'm being nice in dreams."
Yeah, I think I was having one the other night too. About I was in the car, and I was driving up a hill,
Mhm.
but then I don't know
Hmm.
what happened. It's like, yeah, you know, it's so much in your head where
Mhm.
you go.
Well, I have had dreams, and I've woke up for them, and I've been like, "Oh, I need to write that down." No, I'll remember it.
Hmm.
I'll convince myself I'll remember it. I've done that a few times, and you know, and I don't
I,
remember it.
sometimes I listen to these books, right?
Mhm.
I think they're going to go into my subconscious mind. So I think it was Dale Carnegie that I was listening to the one night. And the next thing you know, in my dream, I'm like sitting in the audience where he's giving a lecture.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool. So you got a private like lecture right there in your dream.
Yeah,
Yeah, wouldn't it be good if we could just kind of program them that way?
we should be
I
able
bet
to.
we are able to. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you can plan your day. You can plan everything. That's what I wanted to mention when you were talking about the med beds. You're familiar with that Jay-Z night, right? The one that's in Washington. I think she's in Washington State. Who has that? She has a big ranch there, and it's Ramtha. She channel. Is it Jay-Z night?
Maybe.
Yeah, she has a room. It was a couple of years ago I heard her talking about this, that she has set up a healing room on her ranch, and it's blue light she's using.
Mm.
And I wondered about that. Like, and she was talking about having like a lot of success with it, but it was all channeled information, the way it was all
Yeah.
felt. And he supposedly, this Ramtha, I don't know. I don't really know like what that whole deal is. I think he was a warrior, an Egyptian warrior, killed thousands and kind of his ways. And he's been channeling through her. She was on like Dick Cavett show. Like she's been doing this for a long time. Like she's got to be in her late 70s at this point.
Well, some of these people have been doing it for a long time.
Long, long time.
Yeah, well, I think on some of the crafts, I mean, sometimes when I get hypnotized, I can go into the crafts, and there's like sound healing rooms in the craft where you go in to get rejuvenated.
That stuff works.
Yeah.
It really works,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. I know. Like for the listeners, it does. It works. Like there are things that work, and when you find the things that work for you, but then through the years, like there have been certain things I've had to change, because what I was doing didn't work anymore. I had to do something else. But I definitely feel like I've matured, that's for sure.
Well, look at all the years that we've been doing this. I mean, I forgot a lot. I forgot more than some people know.
Yeah, me too. And sometimes it takes somebody talking about it for me even to remember.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, we were talking, well, my friend had one of these John Ellis water machines, and we were drinking the John Ellis water. But then I revisited this John Ellis water because the John Ellis water, like you take just a little bit of it and it'll neutralize like a pond, if the pond is all had bad stuff in it. And then you can use it for drinking. But the water also helps with people's health conditions, like if someone had cancer or has cancer or diabetes, COPD. And I read an article that it would help with asthma too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these water filters are, to buy the machine, it's like about $2,000.
Mm-hmm. It's no cheap. Mm-hmm.
No. But it says here, he says, John Ellis water changes your blood in just 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So our water attacks cancer cells and bioenergy testing, and John Ellis water stops radiation. So there's, and you can buy just a gallon, and then take that gallon and
spread it around.
Yes. You use maybe a quarter of a cup and you put it in a gallon.
Oh, okay.
And then it energizes this gallon of water.
So how much is a gallon?
Well, you can buy a gallon. Well, some of them are $75, but I found it pretty reasonable on eBay.
Okay.
But it's a very interesting, the water is very interesting. And I think water plays, of course, because your body's 90% water, plays a big part in your body. So
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But,
I remember reading a paper, when you're talking about water. I wonder what they're doing to the water, for one thing. It makes me start to wonder, what are they actually doing? If they're not adding anything to it, what are they doing? What kind of charge are they putting through it? What kind of color, whatever it is that they're doing. But I remember reading a paper. I can't even remember who it was written, but it was one of these science papers, and they were talking about, the water, in springs and lakes, they called it living water. The ancients, that was what it was. It was living water. And this paper that I was reading was basically saying that we didn't have any more living water. That it had been so badly treated, the oceans and the streams and stuff. I didn't believe it. I just read the paper because it broke down what was happening to the structure of the water, where it was leading up me believe that it really wasn't life-giving anymore. And I wonder if they have found a way to kind of activate it so that it's living water.
Yes, that's what he did. And it's
oh, wow. Okay.
It's sort of like a distiller. It goes through a distilling process, but it's an ultra distiller. But it says increases blood flow to the extremities measured by the Doppler ultrasound. MD independent research at UCLA Medical. Typical diabetes. I soaked my foot in your water and it went from black to rosy pink, saving my foot from last minute application. Went in and helped with Ebola. So there's all different kinds of testimonials of what it could do for you. And I had the man on who has Century H2O, and I have one of those water filters on our sink downstairs, and he takes all the different things, the fluoride, the this, the that, everything comes out of that water, and he puts magnesium and such back in it. And if anybody wants to go to centuryh2o.com and put Life in the Hologram in, you'll get a 10% discount.
Yeah, so go check it out, everybody.
Yeah, it's not the John Ellis water, but I was thinking with the John Ellis water, if you took this Century H2O and used that and put it through the distiller, if you had the distiller, I think that would be pretty fantastic. But I have, I've been doing that because I have the Century H2O water, and then I put the John Ellis water in. So, in no time I should be doing jumping jacks.
Yeah, you should. And I want to hear all about it. And then you can do a wee TikTok video and put it up. Yeah.
Yeah, because now my little great-grandson, he has a little bit of an issue with asthma.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that this helps with asthma also. So, you know, what do you have to lose? It's water, it can't hurt, might help.
Well, I'm going to interject here, Sam, because have you ever did cosmic cocktails? Like, I think there was with Solaris, maybe about a year ago. And sometimes when we're actually talking to each other, like we'll have our glasses of water because the energy's like kind of moving.
Mm-hmm.
And it does. You can charge water. You can change the structure of water. Like, who was it? Emoto, was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, the book, like how we can affect the structure of water. That's real. That's real. Who was, like...
I know.
It's real. So, I mean, we can do it, Madeline. We can do it.
Well, I got this little thing here, too, that you put water in it, and then it puts hydrogen in water. And I think that's a little bit what John Ellis does, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all interesting. And like I said, try it. It can't hurt. Might help.
Giddy, the one that I did with Solaris, the 2 years were giggling.
No, I never.
Tasted smooth. You should, like, even, like, I don't know. We should do it. We should do a girls' thing one night or something where we just talk on Skype and we charge our water and we drink it. Yeah.
Well, I have this Biztronic program, too, where that has all the Royal Rife frequencies plus the Huda Clark frequencies. Mm-hmm. So now I'll take my headphones and I'll set up my Biztronic, and then I'll put my headphones on my water. Or, let's say, whatever, diabetes, arterial sclerosis, whatever frequency you want to put in there, whatever you're suffering from. And then I put it in the water, and then I drink my gallon of water. And then maybe I'll change the frequencies up a little bit the next time with something different, or like to do a detox but what most of Royal Rice frequencies did was help eliminate parasites out of your body. Mm-hmm. Because I think mostly what I'm seeing today, they are claiming that most of these different diseases are being caused by parasites.
Mm-hmm. That would make sense.
I mean,
the idea of parasite,
yeah, well, they're all in your body.
No, they're not in mine, Madeline. No, thank you.
I eat a couple spoonsful of pumpkin seeds every night to help eliminate parasites.
Walnut, what is it? Black walnut, red clover. When I had,
if this cayenne pepper isn't killing parasites, I don't know what will.
Oh, it will. It'll take them out. Yeah, parasites, man. Ugh, no. No. Mm-mm.
Well, my little great grandson has like all these they're little tiny pimples under his arms. I'm like, what's wrong with this kid? Why does he have that? Let's get something scrubbing on there to get those off. And through some research that I did, when the kids have that, it's like they have parasites. Yeah.
So what would you give him, like, to help him?
Well, he would have to. Mm-hmm. Some probably would have to disguise some stuff, but I mean, if they would eat some pumpkin seeds, that would help them.
Maybe salt, like bake them in the oven, put some salt on them, like some
No, I
salt.
buy them already. I don't like that whole pumpkin seed. I just like the little green thing. I like the inside of it.
You're particular. I love pumpkin pie. I love pumpkin pie.
Me too.
That's one of my favorites. So
I like pumpkin anything.
And I like a pumpkin.
I like pumpkin anything. I wanted to make a sweet potato pie too.
Ooh, I would like that too.
Sweet potato pies are really close to pumpkin pies.
Oh, they're very good for you.
Yeah.
any that orange, like, it's
Except
estrogen, right?
when you put the cup of sugar in, that kind of screws it up.
Yeah. Honey. Try honey.
Okay.
Try a wee bit of honey. You don't need to put as much in.
No,
But sorry, go ahead.
sometimes I cut, if it says, about sugar, I'll cut it in half.
Sugar, like the history of sugar. I'll tell you, what was his name? What is his name? Michael Tessarian. He wrote a book. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the book, but he breaks it down, like what sugar has done.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Sugar's worse than cocaine.
Yeah.
So many people are addicted to sugar. I think more people are addicted to sugar than they are cocaine.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it might even be a stronger addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar.
Absolutely.
Before, when I started reading, like, the ingredients of things, like reading what was sugar, that was all you saw, even in a can of peas, added sugar. And the ones that used to get me was the colouring,
Yeah, the dyes that they stick in. I can't believe they put, like, yellow dye. Does yellow dye have to be in pickles for?
Very pleasing to the eye. Don't know.
I used to make sometimes I'll make my own pickles. Like if you have and I try to find the ones without the dyes in them. Mm-hmm. But you keep the pickle juice and then you slice up your cucumber and shove it in the pickle juice and you turn it into a pickle.
I like pickles.
Me too.
I like dill pickles. Do you like dill pickles?
My great-grandsons, they can eat a whole darn jar of pickles.
Oh, my daughter, when she was younger, same thing. Hand in the jar, Yep.
I mean, they'll eat a whole jar.
Like the big jars?
Well, it's kind of big, but they'll eat the whole jar. Just taking a couple of pickles out and eating them.
It's the whole thing. Okay,
the whole thing.
Yep, nobody else is getting any. Yep.
I tell my granddaughter has to have a couple jars of pickles on hand.
Wow. Well, the fermented is good for us, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, it's good. If you ever get indigestion, drink some pickle juice.
Mm-hmm. Apple cider vinegar. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for you. And I think it's actually good for the intestinal flora.
Mm-hmm.
It helps encourages that good bacteria that we need, because we really need it, because what is being offered as food is stripping all that good bacteria that should last as a life. It should last all through our life. Everything should last our lifetime.
Yeah, that's why we got to get in the med bed.
The med bed, or we can do this, Madeline. It's just that little step, that extra step that we don't need these contraptions. We don't. I
know.
It's just that.
We actually, got to find out from Michael how to get into the portal.
Yeah, and we want to go into the right portal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have went through a portal. I think I did one time, and I don't think it was a good one.
I think I went, I had this dream, and I was going up and up and up and up and up, and my head broke through.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a piece of ice, but wasn't ice, and my head broke through, and I'm looking around, and I said, is that what it's like up here? I don't know where I was.
What did it look like?
It was just like clouds or something. It's like, well, this isn't so bad.
Heaven?
I don't know where it was, to tell you the truth. My friend sent me this documentary. I don't know, maybe you know about it. And Virgin Mary was showing herself to some kids in Spain, but this was in the 60s.
This was Fatima? This was later? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 61, 62.
Oh, is this Lourdes?
No.
No? Okay.
Nope, it's a different place.
Okay.
And because he said, what did I think? Because I was a big follower of Virgin Mary. Well, I still am. But because he did a hypnosis on me the one night, and Virgin Mary came in and covered me with a bed of roses.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, wow. That must have been awesome, Madeline.
But, I mean, sometimes you wonder when these apparitions show up and the Blessed Mother, she was, what she's been saying for years, pray for Russia. Mm-hmm. Pray for Russia. Mm-hmm. Because she's always been saying, pray for Russia, pray for Russia. But anyway.
It's like propaganda for Russia.
But is it, the Vatican is pretty nefarious.
Oh, yeah.
Now, in the 60s, I would say they could have had something that would create a hologram.
Okay.
Of the Blessed Mother.
I would agree, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So did they really see her, or was it a hologram?
All right, let's go there. The Fatima, right? Mm-hmm. There's also another story that goes to when Columbus, right, or the conquistadors, and landed, and they were met by.
Yeah, a spaceship could cause a hologram too.
Oh yeah, an airplane could cause a hologram. So could a helicopter if they had the right equipment on it. What happened was when they landed, the inhabitants basically were like, "Oh, we know all about this," like because they had like the pilgrims with them, the priests, like to convert the people, and the people were like, "Oh no, we know about this." And they were like, well, how do you know about it? And basically, there had been a nun that had been astral projecting and visiting them. And they sainted her, Saint Francis, somebody. Anyway, supposedly she was in a convent in France or somewhere in Europe at the time. And she would visit them astrally. She would project and she would be
Padre
there.
Pio.
Yeah. Oh, is he the one that found those giant books?
No, Padre Pio was a priest in Italy.
Okay.
And he would, like if somebody was sick, he would show up in the hospital room, wherever.
Okay.
And he would heal them. Mm-hmm. Now, they have a big shrine to Padre Pio here in this area. Ooh. And I was actually lucky enough. He had the stigmata. The stigmata means the blood. He had this.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So he had a glove, and the glove, had this the blood on it.
Yep.
And now when you go there, you just look at it under glass. But me and my friend were lucky enough to go there and touch this glove.
Wow.
I mean, we had it on our hand and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that there was a girl here that they took over to Padre Pio showed up and did a healing on her.
Is that why they have the statue there?
No, they have a big shrine.
Oh, a big shrine.
Yeah, it's a whole center.
Well, all right. So we have these apparitions, right? Mm-hmm. And the one that was earlier would have been the one in Portugal, right? With the children, and it was Fatima, Our Lady. Fatima appeared to them and supposedly spoke to them. And again, I think it was the same message about Russia. But
yeah, that's what she keeps saying.
Yeah, but there was a whole thing around that story as well, where the villagers saw the sun dancing. Mm-hmm. That was how they interpreted it.
Right. Usually the sun, and there's a rainbow when Virgin Mary comes around.
Okay. So, do you think it's a hologram?
I don't know. Some of those things, it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
sure.
know for sure.
Well, when you're doing it to a populace that doesn't really have any experience with,
mm-hmm.
right? How would they know?
You don't.
No, you wouldn't know. Except that we are fast approaching a point, like even though we've already reached it and went beyond it with technology as far as like our ancestors. Right now in this realm, we're fast approaching a place where we're going to need to know how to tell the difference, or we're just going to move right into a realm where we'll never really know.
Well, if we need anything, we could use a big hologram of the Virgin Mary right now for the whole world to see.
Do you think it would help?
You would think.
I don't know.
I don't know either. No, I don't. Padre Pio. It's amazing that some of these things happen.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And they're real. That's the thing about these. These miracles happen. They do.
Yeah. I think that the thing is they are in prayer for, long amounts of time. And the prayer elevates the energy. And I think that what has them be able to bilocate.
Yeah, well, there are yogis, lamas, there's even people like that have made accounts relocate or like bilocating, being in two places at the one time. Like there's numbers of stories, individuals who've done that. So yeah, there's something to that. But for some, it seems to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we have this ability. I do. I think that we came up with the whole idea of telephone because we weren't ready to accept the fact that we're telepathic. And I think we keep doing stuff like that. I think we can. I think we can teleport. I think we can do all of this stuff. I think we can heal. I think
absolutely. But I think we have to have I don't know. Some people it happens spontaneously.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, like
I wonder who's sitting there saying, okay, she gets a healing. He gets a healing. Who's the guy making those decisions?
We are. Yeah. It's really our bodies are really amazing. They really, really are amazing. Mm-hmm. They're very amazing.
Yeah. If you sit and think about what your body has to do just for us to be sitting here talking to each other, how many different things have to be engaged?
Yeah.
Like the brain, the mouth, the eyes, the ears. Mm-hmm. And, while we're engaging, everything is still working. Your digestive tract's working, your lungs are working, your heart's going. So that's like a feat of wonder, isn't it?
It really is, and it hasn't been mastered. It's been mastered by some, but we could really stand to be mastering it as a whole, we really could, understanding it. I want to know about the people who heal for cancer, who, miraculously, their heart is, you know what I mean?
I absolutely do.
I want to hear about these people. I want to hear what was going on with them, and yeah, there are stories there, but I think more focus on that, would be helpful for people. It really would be, that they're no powerless. because the current situation is making them feel that way.
Well, even look at some people and they say, oh, you have 6 months to live.
Oh,
and then you're like, well, okay, I got 6 months to live. I better get my ass moving here and get done what I need to get done and go where I want to go and blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, whatever they were dying from, they're not dying anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It happens quite often.
Yeah.
So it does. I remember going to the doctor for just an annual checkup, where they're kind of feeling around, and then I remember this one doctor looking at me and going, "You have a mass on your breast." I was like, what? A mass. And I'm like, a mass of what? And he's like, don't know. We're going to need to go in there. We're going to need to look at it. And it's a mass. I mean, the languaging could be better.
Well, I went to the doctor and they said, you have ovarian cancer. I said, you're full of shit.
Yeah. Oh, Madeline. Yeah, but look at you, Madeline. You blew that out, You healed. You healed yourself with that.
And they said, oh, she's in denial.
No, as you walk out, getting both fingers.
I said, you're nuts. I don't have cancer. What's wrong with you? When I first went and got checked out, when the doctor's checking me, I says, I think I'm having the alien baby.
The alien baby. Oh, man. Oh, man.
And they laughed and laughed. Yeah.
What did you do, Madeline? What was your approach?
Well, I had to get an operation.
Oh, yeah.
It was the size of a cantaloupe.
Okay.
But lucky for me, it was all encapsulated, so that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Yep, it was interesting.
It was an alien baby, I think.
Yeah. Those people laughed and laughed and laughed.
Yeah. Wow. But you did that, You're the one that did that. You did.
It was interesting. I came out the other end. My girlfriend wasn't as lucky.
Yeah, I've lost some.
Me and my friend, Cece, had it at the same time. She was here in Pennsylvania and she left. She went to Canada. Thought she was going to get better care there.
Mm-hmm.
So they do the operation on her to take out the tumor.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit her intestinal tract.
Oh, no.
So she ends up with a colostomy and all this and that and the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Goes through, I don't know how many chemotherapies. And I'm like, why are you doing this, Cece? Why? Mm-hmm. Why did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
So I sent her a message somewhere. I texted her on Facebook because it was her birthday, and my boss's wife that I worked for in Sedona, she writes back to me and she says, our Cece is gone. She died. Oh, here's same operation.
Mm-hmm.
Only I opted out on a lot of that chemotherapy.
Yeah.
I did too, and that's okay, folks. You can ring your bells, you can do the jiggity jig, the hoppity hop, but I'm done.
Yeah, I think that was a good move on your part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And you said that Cece, had you been living in the same area?
Well, she was in Pennsylvania, but she was up towards Allentown.
Mm-hmm.
Her sister lived there, but she had friends in Canada and decided to go to Canada to get treated instead of. I said, why didn't you call me?
Mm-hmm.
You should have called me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she died 3 years ago, but we both had it right at the same time, which I thought was really weird.
I think it's interesting. Yeah.
They had the same type, same, stage, and
see, I don't think there's ever any accidents, Madeline. I don't.
so who knows where it started, and
You're here. I'm glad you're here. Yep, I'm very glad you're here. And yeah, you healed.
Interesting journey.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry Cece's no longer here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry too. We had some good times together.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think you're like Thelma and Louise. When you get together with your buddies.
Yeah, she's the one that got me into gambling in Sedona. Cece loved to gamble. She did.
Did she win?
Yep, she won.
Yeah.
We used to
some people are just really like they just attract
lucky.
it. Yeah, they attract it. I have pals like every scratchy is a winner. It's like, and I'd get like one in like maybe 10 years.
We had she was like a psychic, but would also teach you there was different things in the Bible that you could use to do healings and so on and so forth. Miriam, she was up in the Bethlehem area. And she loved to get a lot of money gambling. Her guides would tell her where to go in a casino.
Oh, that's the kind of gauge you want,
Yeah.
It is. And then you get, like, I worked in a casino here for a while when I was really young, and there's people who would be counting cards, and then you would watch the security, like, kind of hanging back. They would win so much, and then they'd get told to leave because they'd know they'd be counting the cards. And then, the Chinese are big gamblers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. They would sit there all night long. Yeah, right into the wee hours of the morning.
There was a lot of them in Vegas, and there was a lot in Atlantic City.
Yeah, Atlantic City. I was in New York. I never visited Atlantic City. I never
Really?
went. Yeah, I know.
And you were really close.
I was very close. I was in New Jersey, like, a few times, like Mellon a few times.
And Atlantic City was nice when you were there.
Yeah.
Now it's not so nice.
I know, I missed it.
Yeah, it's not, it's like, it's scary to go out in the boardwalk.
Is it? That's no good.
I don't know that I don't know how many people spoke English.
I've looked at some of the live cams in New York City and stuff, like in the last couple of months. I think I'm recognizing things less and less. Summer.
Yeah.
And I think I told you I was up in Glasgow a couple of weeks ago. I was looking at my daughter going, I don't even recognize half of this. Like some of the streets, like the buildings, some of the old buildings, they've been demolished. They're gone. There's no trace of them. Big libraries, like.
What a shame.
It is a shame. It is a shame.
What was Scotland's product, let's say, that everybody in the world would want?
Whiskey!
Oh, whiskey. Really?
That was your biggest export for the longest time.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of whiskey?
Malts, like old whiskey, like fine whiskey, Livick, Glenfiddich, like all kinds of whiskey. Like they have whiskey that will cost you $5,000 a bottle. Like
wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, big whiskey, like distillers, like and they would like they're chemists more than anything else, and they would say that the whiskey was the way that it was because of the water in Scotland. We used to pride ourselves. We would
and
say
probably the barrels that they fermented it in.
The oak barrels, yep. Like I remember that was a trade here. Like the Collar was one of the barrel makers, like. That made the barrels for the whiskey and the sherry or the claret. Yeah, so Whiskey. Whiskey was their biggest export. I don't know if it is anymore, but that was their biggest export.
And what about a food product?
Food? Oh, I don't know. Most of the food I couldn't get in America that they have, except for potatoes. Well, potatoes are everywhere. In America, it would be streaky, whereas here, I think the nearest you have, like, see the Canadian bacon? It's like that here. Like, streaky bacon is like a separate kind of product. Bacon is like different. It's different.
Probably doesn't have all the nitrates and that type of thing in it.
Don't know. I don't know. You know, like they say that the food regulations in this country are better, and in Europe they are, but they're still no. There's still no where they should be as far as like adding stuff to food to make it taste better. So I don't know. Food wise, we're big on our like what we call mince and tatties, which is basically ground beef. We like onions and carrots, and then you have your mashed potatoes, and that's like a wholesome meal. Like I remember that was a relatively inexpensive meal when I was growing up.
What's that, like a shepherd's pie?
Yeah, exactly. It's shepherd's pie. That's exactly what it is. Only it's made to look different. It's not a pie.
No. I know. It's like mashed potatoes, and you put the hamburger and the peas and the carrots in the center, and then put another layer of mashed potatoes, and you have good gravy.
And you crisp it in the oven so that it looks all kind of cool. I don't know. Like, I used to wander around the supermarkets when I first was in America. Like, I really, the supermarkets overwhelmed me. It wasn't that I wasn't used to a supermarket. I just wasn't used to the size and the choice. And I would wander around, and I, for the longest time, I just didn't know what to buy. I would buy fruit because I knew what that was, you know, but the packaging would throw me off because I was used to going into the butchers and kind of, I would buy like the whole chicken, or I'd go into the fishmongers, or I'd go to the fish market if I wanted fish and get it fresh, like caught.
Yeah.
So different, kind of different in the sense that all the packaging threw me. I remember because I had already been kind of trained into taking my own bags into a store. That was how it was here. But it was all changing here by the time I had moved to America. Things were like the mom and pop stores were gone. You know, the supermarkets were taken there. You know, so it was changing here, but we were very rebellious. Like, I remember as a teenager, early 20s, we were very rebellious. I mean, revolution was like right around the corner. Like, when I think back on like the atmosphere of the young people, we were so sick and tired of strikes and unions and Margaret Thatcher and closures of work and people need money. And then that was what they were doing. They were bringing their Polish people to cross the picket lines to take the jobs, like for the coal miners and for the steel workers. So there was a lot. And next thing we knew, this whole country was just absolutely flooded with heroin, every kind of drug you could imagine. And we lost whole generations.
So what happened? What kind of pastries are indicative to Scotland?
Snowball.
Now, is that vanilla ice cream rolled in coconut?
No. This is cake.
This
is a cake that's made to look like a snowball. And it is a sponge cake. It's a little more denser, not quite as dense as a scone, and not as fluffy as like a regular cake. In the middle, it has strawberry jam. And the whole outside it, I mean, it's made into a ball. And the whole outside it has like a thin coat of icing, and then it's rolled in coconut. And that is a snowball.
That sounds good. We're
Right?
soon going to be out of time, and then your show's coming on.
Yeah, and I'm going to be talking for another hour, just ranting. Yeah,
but we wanted to remind you, listeners, that Revolution Radio is listener supported. So if you have some extra money, send it our way so you can keep listening to Caroline and myself ramble on. And we have some guests. We have Michael
Feely next week.
Next week, and Patricia Hill on the 23rd, Adrian Dobson on the 1st of March.
Yep, quite a lineup.
So Michael and Adrian are from UK. Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. There's the music. Oh, have a great night, Madeline.
Yeah.
And thank you,
You
listeners.
too, Caroline. Thank you.
Have a great night. Bye.
Come back next Friday.
Yeah.